keep reading them. I'm going to hand it over to our colleague, Dylan Connolly. There's a slide. Okay. So Dylan is going to run us through a quick activity just to get everything started. And again, after the activity, we're going to go over what the project is and introduce some more people and things like that. But I'm going to turn it over to Dylan to get everybody started. Thanks, Dylan.
Hey everyone, so this is the first of two activities I'm going to be demoing today. Both of these are going to be available in the Nifty collection on the STEM Activity Clearinghouse, SSI's little pet project that we're going to be sharing with you. A link to that later. But to get this started, if you want to follow along, if you have a piece of scratch paper, I think there was an email sent out to maybe have some scratch paper ready. If you want to draw a quick 5x5 grid, I'm going to be going over a really fun activity called Pasión for Pixels, which is a really cool way to explore binary coding by transmitting a picture from yourself to a partner. And today I'm going to be playing in the transmitter, and y'all are going to be playing the receiver. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how binary coding works. So the only materials you need are just 2 paper grids. Today you only need the one because we're just going to be doing it in one direction. Just drawing a quick 5x5 grid on there, just so you have 5 squares by 5 squares on that grid, and a simple writing instrument. And what this does is we're going to be, this activity is run to teach you all about how pixels work. So you may or may not know, digital images are made of what are called picture elements, or pixels for short. And those are the individual squares. If you zoom in really, really close on a digital image, like the one, if you actually go to the next slide, Nikki. If you see on this slide, we've zoomed in on this picture of some solar eclipse glasses. And if you zoom in really closely, you'll see that it's not actually made of solid color. It's actually made of individual squares called pixels that are colored in different ways. And so code will tell you how to display that image in different colors, whether or not it's on or off. And binary coding, so pixels work, the ratio of the pixels to the area of the image determines the resolution of the image. So if you have something printed on paper, that's usually done in about 300 dpi, or dots per inch. But if you're looking at digital images, it's about 72. What we're going to do is you should have a 5x5. Can we go on to the next slide? You should have this 5x5 grid like this in front of you. You take it a couple seconds to draw it. And this activity works by you pick a transmitter. I'm going to be playing that role today. And the receiver, which will be y'all. So the transmitter tells the receiver the image in binary code. So you go pixel by pixel, and you say 0 for an empty square and 1 for a filled square. This is very, very simple binary coding. Binary coding uses zeros and ones to express one of 2 states. It can be empty or filled, yes or no, true or false, on or off. Binary coding tells you that as you go through those ones and zeros. Setting up this activity, can we move just quickly to the next slide? A couple of tips when you're running this activity: you want to determine the order of transmission. So I could just start saying zeros and ones at y'all, but you wouldn't necessarily know the order that we're going to start in. So you might want to, are you starting in the top left, or are you starting in the bottom left? As you hit the end of a row, are you looping around and starting on the right again, or are you going back to the left? So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the top left as I transmit this this image to you, and you're going to go all the way to the right, and then we're going to go back to the left. So it's going to go the top row left to right, the bottom, the second row left to right, et cetera, until we reach that 5th row. So these are all things that are important to communicate, and these are kind of representing almost like a coding language. It's the conventions in the coding that we're going to be using to talk about that. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to show you what the image is, but I'm going to describe it to y'all to fill in on your grid, and hopefully you get what I have been transmitting. All right, so is everybody ready? We're going to start the coding. All right, so we're going to remember we're going left to right, down each row, and we're going to start at the left again as we go to the second row. All right, so top row, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's the top row. Second row, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. All right, third row, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Fourth row, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And finally, the bottom row, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. All right, so that should be the whole picture transmitted. All right, does everyone want to put in the chat what they should have gotten? It should be pretty clear what it is. Excellent, we got some happy faces. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Can we go ahead and go on to the next slide, Nikki? So this is the image I was using as a default. And so if you want to go to the next slide, Nikki, so this is what it should look like if you were putting this as binary code. We've kind of labeled all of this individually. So when you're running this activity, it's really fun. You can have your transmitters design their image on any size grid. We used a 5x5 grid. You can use a 6x6, or you can use a piece of wrapping paper and go 20x20. It's entirely up to you, and it's a really fun activity. And you can have the transmitter and the receiver switch back and forth, design different images. The larger the grid, the more, as I was talking about with that pixels per over area, you get a higher resolution the larger grid you use. So if you were to use a 10x10 grid and have 100 squares, you could have a really complex image instead of just a simple smiley face. So this is one of the activities that I wanted to get something done to get everybody getting a little active, doing something hands-on, get your brain juices flowing. This is always one of my favorite activities to run. I think it's really fun, inspires a lot of creativity, and teaches something really cool about coding. So check this out on the nifty Clearinghouse collection when we share that a little bit later. And I'll be back to share a soda straw rocket activity a little later in the training today. So I'll turn this back over.